We are. What's going on with my sounds here? Sounds aren't working. Oh, yeah, there we go. Just want to make sure. The drum roll doesn't work. Doorbells work. Laughing works. Drum roll doesn't seem to work. All right. Well, it is 8 in 4. Well, little glasses, big glasses. 8 in 4, lesson 1, writing equations using symbols. This is one of the few lessons that is lesson 1 in a unit where some students have a little bit more difficulty with this lesson and with this understanding. It's a building block for the rest of what we do, but when we try and put words into equations, it can be kind of difficult. So what I want to do in this lesson is give you some clues that help you and some hints and some keywords that help you to know how to convert these sentences, English sentences, into equations. And then we're going to do like 5 questions of homework help, where I do 5 questions that are like the homework and really try and put the icing on the cake to help you make sure that you understand what we're talking about, and that you've learned and adjusted and incorporated this lesson into your thinking. Okay, let's move along and let's hit our sketch pad and let's just talk about writing symbols using equations. Again, 8 in 4, lesson 1. Now, the first thing that I want to say is the first clue. So we're going to start and we're going to give these are going to be clues to turning sentences, English sentences, into math sentences or equations. So we're turning English sentences into math sentences or equation. Here's some clues. So let's start off with number 1. And this is key, and this is the idea that is means equals. Is means equals. And there are a couple other words that are like is, and those are gives you, or you get, or costs. These things all mean equals. So let's give you an example. Let's do some examples here, and let's just switch colors because I like switching colors. Some examples are 2 times a number is 8. So rather than try and, you can probably do this one relatively easy, but let's just look at this. Let's break it down. And so we see this is. So this is our equals. So we're going to write an equation. This is easy. Number 8, we can just pull that down because 8 is 8. But 2 times a number is, we need to come up with an expression, right? This is an easy expression. This is an easy conversion, or an easy expression. Call it an expression, not a conversion, which is 8 is 8. But 2 times a number, what is the thing that we don't know? Let's think about this. We don't know what a number is. So we're going to say that a number, and this is, we're usually just going to say that that's x. So x is equal to a number. And that's what all algebra is. Algebra is really about working with numbers that we don't know. And I'm going to put in parentheses, but often can figure out by using algebra. Okay. So a number, if x is a number, we're going to put this thing, we're going to put an x in for the concept of a number. And 2 times a number is, if a number is x, then 2 times a number is 2x. So there's our 2 times a number. So our equation is 2x equals 8. So if 2x equals 8, we can now solve that using algebraic methods, and we can come up with, divide by 2, and we can get x equals 4. We're not going to worry so much about solving. We're going to focus pretty much on getting the right equation set up. And we can look back and we can check our answer just for fun now that we solved it, though, and say 2 times the number is 8. Well, is 2 times 4 8? Yeah, 2 times 4 is 8. So x is our number. But the easy thing to do here is to set it up and then solve for our 4. Okay, let's do another one just for fun. And let's use a different thing. We'll use a different color here, but we're going to use a different word up here. And I'm going to say 3 apples cost $4. How much is 1 apple? So the thing that we don't know, now we need to identify the thing we don't know. I'm going to kind of cordon this off with this line here. So the thing that we don't know, and we can figure out, and maybe you could do this in your head, but I'm trying to keep it simple, and I want you to do this thing algebraically so that when things get more hard, we can continue to use our algebraic setup to solve equations. If you just look at these equations here and solve them in your head, you haven't helped build a key building block that will help you in the future when these English sentences get trickier. So if we say 3 apples cost $4 and how much is 1 apple, we can say, what is the thing that we don't know? We're trying to find out. We're trying to find out what 1 apple costs. So we're going to say that that is going to equal x. Because that's the thing that we don't know, the cost of 1 apple. Okay. So now let's go back and look at 3 apples cost $4 and see if we can make sense of this. So if 3 apples cost, well, cost is like equals. So here's our equal sign. Over here we have 4. So we're going to put our 4 over here. And now we have 3 apples. Well, if 1 apple is x, then 3 apples cost 3x. And there's our equation. Okay, so that's kind of our first tip. Is, gives you, get, cost. These are other key forms of equal. So let's think about how we use gives you or you get. So let's do one of those just so you see that. If you add 3 to a number, you get 2 times the number. Well, in this case, the thing that you don't know. What is the thing that you don't know? Well, the thing that you don't know is a number. So we're going to call a number, and here's another thing. Here's the number again, the number. So this is going to be x. You get is our equal sign, right? So, right, you get is an equal sign. So on the left, so we're going to put, this is our equal sign. On the left, you get if you add 3 to a number, so that's 3 plus x, you get equals 2 times the number. Well, that's 2x. And you have an equation. So that's the idea of you get. We're going to keep doing more of these, so hang in there. Let's move on. get some more tips. So let's go to tip number 2. Tip number 2 is always to identify the unknown, or identify, this is tip 2, identify, and we did a little bit of this in section 1, identify the thing you don't know and call it X or any other variable. So you don't always have to use X. You can use, if you're talking about apples, you could use A, or if you're talking about bananas, you can use B. So, you know, or any other variable, you know, A for apple, you know, B for, you know, cost of banana. Okay. So let's look at this and let's see if we can figure out what we're talking about here. So let's say if I add 4 more cherry Jolly Ranchers to the pile, I get, or let's say it gives you, I will have 22 Jolly Ranchers. How many did I start with? You could probably do this in your head. But let's see, what is the thing that we don't know? So now I'm thinking, question mark. What is it that I don't know? Well, the question will often tell you the answer. And the answer is, how many did I start with? Okay, so let's call that X. Well, maybe we'll call it J, because it's Jolly Ranchers. So J equals the number of cherry Jolly Ranchers in my starting pile. So can you find the equal sign, if you will, in this problem? And it's not gets or equals or is, because I can't find any of those words. So if you give yourself, pause the video and see if you can figure it out, where the kind of the is, where's my starting and ending? Where's the thing that kind of divides my starting and ending? Okay, so if you figured it out, you thought it out, and you said, it's kind of like the I will have, or I get. This is kind of like I get. I get. And that's kind of my equal, because this is my start. And this is kind of my end. Right? Well, this is really my start to the pile. Okay. So over here, I take my starting point of a pile, and I take 4 more, and I add it to a pile, the starting number of cherry Jolly Ranchers in the starting pile, and I'll have 22. Okay. And that's your equation. Now, if you go about solving it, you can just subtract 4 from both sides, and you get X equals 18. And so 18 is the, right, remember what, or J, whoops, let's just go all the way back and fix this up, because we use J equals 22. And we subtract 4, and we get J equals 18. Jolly Ranchers. And so J is the number of Jolly Ranchers in my starting pile. Remember, so whatever your variable is, that's what you're solving for. Now, I didn't end with 22. You got to realize that 18 isn't the number of Jolly Ranchers. It's the number of Jolly Ranchers you started with, because that's what I said. Okay, let's move along. Let's move on. Okay, let's come back. This is gonna be my homework help. So I gotta give you some more keys. Whoops. We're gonna go here, and I'm gonna go into my history, and I'm gonna go all the way down to here, to here, maybe to here, to here, to here. All right, whatever. Okay, let's get going. Let's say ignore Mr. Lipscomb's talking to himself, and let's just keep moving along. Okay, so number three key is consecutive numbers. When you see this thing, consecutive numbers. So this is the, I'll just kind of give you the topic here. And let's talk about a word problem that uses the word consecutive numbers. And it'll be two consecutive numbers, the sum of is 41. Okay, the sum of two consecutive numbers is 41. And the question is, what are the numbers? Now, the way that you can identify consecutive numbers are with a variable, because we don't know what either one of the numbers is. So let's say that x is equal to the first number. So the question is what is the second number? And let's just make a chart, and let's see if we can figure this out. So if the first number and the second number, so let's just think of some numbers. So the first number is 1, the second number is 2, because these are consecutive numbers. Consecutive numbers means in a row, kind of in a row, 1 to 2. So if I give you one that says 4, the next consecutive number is 5. The next one would be, 10, could be 11. If I gave you the number 8, you would say 9. So these are all consecutive numbers. So what did I do to get from here to here? And then the question is, if the first number is x, what is the second number? So let's look at this. So if for those of you who said, I add 1, you add 1, you add 1, you add 1. You add 1. So these are consecutive numbers. 8 to 9, I add 1. 10 to 11, that's the rule, you add 1. So if I go from x and I use the same rule and I add 1, what is that? Well, it's x plus 1. So that's kind of the intuition or the rule behind two consecutive numbers are always, it'll be x and x plus 1. And in fact, you could even think of it this way. It's interesting. If my second number was x, what would my first number be? What do I have to add? If I say something plus 1 gives me x, this would be x minus 1, because x minus 1 plus 1 is x. So I could actually say my first number is x minus 1, and my second number is x. And that would still work. But you can just kind of hold on to that thought. We'll just put this away for a second. Okay, so if our first number is x, and our second number is x plus 1, and I say the sum of two consecutive numbers is 41, let's just write this out. All in a line of two consecutive numbers is 41. Let's break it down. is our equal sign. 41 is 41. The sum of two consecutive numbers. Well, we've labeled our two consecutive numbers x and x plus 1. So the sum of x and x plus 1 is x plus 1. Or just simply x plus 1 equals 41. And if we remember back, we combine like terms. And this becomes x plus x is 2x plus 1 equals 41. And you can solve from there, and you can get, that's our equation, but if you solve, you're going to get x equals 20. Subtract 1, and then 2x equals 20. And then so x is, it's 40. And so x equals 20. So if x is 20, have I answered the question? No. What is x? X is my first number. So this is my first number. X plus 1, if x is 20, then x plus 1 is 21. And that's my second number. Right? 20 and 21 is 41. The numbers are consecutive, so I used algebra to find consecutive numbers. Let's take a step ahead. If I wanted to say 3 consecutive numbers, if x is my first number, we can do our chart, first, second, third. If I used 1, 2, 3, I could if I started with 5, my consecutive numbers would be 5, 6, 7. If I started with 10, I'd get 10, 11, 12. And so I go plus 1, and I go plus 2, plus 1, plus 2. X plus 1, x plus 2. So here, if I had x, this would be x plus 1, and this would be x plus 2. We're going to come back to this. Let's look at another example. Let's talk about 2 consecutive even numbers. Well, let's look at what our chart has to look like. So this would be our first, and this would be our second. So 2 consecutive even numbers. If I start with an even number of 4, my next consecutive even number is 6. Right? It's not 5. 5 is odd. If I go 8, I go to 10. If I have 14, I go to 16. So the question is what if I have x? What do I go to? So you might think about it, pause and try. Plus 2, plus 2, plus 2. And so this is plus 2. If I add x and x plus x, and I have to add 2, this becomes x plus 2. So x would equal my first number, and x plus 2 equals my second number. Okay. We're going to come back. I'm going to give you a question on the homework help that involves, that surrounds this. Okay. Now I want to go, and we're going to just go straight to homework help. We got 5 homework help problems. Let me figure out where they are. Here's the first 2. Okay, so this is your turn. Your turn. We're just write the equations. You don't have to solve them. Just write the equations. So try these two. A number is 6 more than half of the number. And then Bill bought 2 candles. One candle costs $3 more than the other candle. The candles cost $17 together. So I want you to work on these two. So pause and try both, and then I'll work them. Again, don't just think you know how to do this and then wait for me to do it, watch me do it, and think you know how to do it. You need to put pencil to paper and try them to incorporate this learning and to put this into your deeper learning. Okay, so now I've assumed you've paused, so let's look at this question. So what can we do here? Here is our equal sign. A number, this is what we don't know. So let's call that number n. Normally we'd call it x. I can call it n, but if you called it x, that's fine. And then here we also have n. So here we have n equals 6 more than half of the number. Half times n. Remember, of means this is multiply. So half of a number is half times n, which is just half n. If you wrote n over 2, that would be fine. You could have written this n equals 6 plus n over 2. That's fine. So good. All right. Happy cat. Oh, happy pig, happy cat. Okay. Bill bought 2 candles. One candle costs $3 more than the other. I assume you've tried this one too. So one candle costs $3 more than the other candle. So what is it that I don't know? Well, I don't know the cost of a candle. Cost of one candle. And I don't know the cost of other candle. Let's see. So let's say one candle costs $3 more than the other candle. So let's say that this is C. C is the cost of the other candle. And then the first candle costs $3 more, so C plus 3. So one candle's 3, the other one's $3 more. And if we add them together, it's $17. So here's our equal sign. Remember, cost is kind of like equals. $17. And then the candles cost, this implies adding them together, right? The candles together cost $17. So C plus C plus 3 equals 17. If you simplify that into 2C plus 3 equals 17, you are well on your way to solving the problem, but we can stop right here because we're just asked to just write the equations. That's deserving of a second happy cat. Okay, let's move along to homework problem number 3 and 4. The sum of 2 consecutive numbers is 29. All right. Let's change this one. 2 consecutive even numbers. Okay. Okay. Let's pause and try. Pause and try both of these, both of them. Okay, I assume you're back. Here we go. We got our is. We got our 29. The sum of 2 consecutive even numbers. Now, if you remember, 2 consecutive even numbers, x would be the first number, and then x plus 2 would be the second number. Right? Because if the first number is 10, you got to go to 12 for the next one. 2 would be 4, 6 would be 8. So x, so this is all plus 2, plus 2, plus 2. So we go x and x plus 2. So the sum of two consecutive even numbers would be x plus 2 equals 29. Or 2x plus 2 equals 29. You can keep going from there. All right, this next one is 17. By now, we should know that that's just like equals 17. A fourth of a number, well, what is it that we don't know? Well, we don't know a number. So we're going to call that x. I'll call it x. If you called it n, that's fine. A fourth of a number is a fourth times x plus the number squared. Well, the number squared is the number squared. Fourth x plus x squared equals 17. Bam. This is kind of a hard one. You guys actually don't know how to solve this type of problem yet. We'll get to that in some later lesson, some later unit. Okay, when you add a number to itself and subtract 4, you get the number. So this one takes a little bit of thinking, but remember, okay, so I'm going to let you pause and try. Pause and try. Assume you're back. What is it that we don't know? Well, we don't know a number. We're going to call that, what do we call that? Let's call it x. Here's another, the number. So that's x. And remember, where's our equal sign? You get is kind of like the equal sign here. So you get the number. So that's, you know, and this, so this is kind of the first part here. When you add a number to itself, so a number added to itself is x plus x. I added a number to itself, subtracted 4, and equals, you get x. So let's see. So x plus x minus 4 equals x. So there's our equation. Let's go ahead and solve it for fun. 2x minus 4 equals x. Subtract x from both sides. You get minus x minus x. I get x minus 4 equals 0, plus 4 plus 4, x equals 4. So let's see, x equals 4. Let's see, if I add the number to itself, I get 4 plus 4. Subtract 4 minus 4, I get the number. Well, 4 plus 4 is 8 minus 4 equals 4. Yes! Wow, boom, happy cat, boom, spinning happy cat. Okay, I am now done. I am done. Let's get back to just me, just talking to you. Hopefully lesson 1 was useful. Hopefully I gave you a few clues. Hopefully you were able to get a few of the word problems, the homework helper problems. I think there's 7 problems on tonight's lesson homework. Enjoy them. We'll be back. We're going to get into lesson 2. Now this unit 4, 8 and 4 is really long. It's actually 31 lessons. So we're going to be here in 8 and 4 for 31 lessons. And they even grouped this up into 5 kind of subunits. So we're going to be kind of going in chunks. But this is really, this 8 and 4 is really kind of heart of algebra. This is not so much geometry, not statistics. This is algebra, one of those key building blocks. This is something I really hope that you stay with. And if I confuse you or you need any extra help or you want me to work any extra problems or you're getting ready for a test and you don't understand one lesson, send me leave a message on YouTube for me. Send me an email at cowboy.lipscomb@gmail.com. And I will respond to you as quickly as I can and maybe put up a video for the rest of you and your friends. Really kind of wondering why our clapping works, but man, our drum roll is not working. Man, our laughing works, our crickets work. Crazy, scary sound works, but no drum roll. All right, enough of that. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.